The movie begins with a scene in which we see Gawain, who is King Arthur's nephew. He was sitting on the crown chair, and then the crown burned out all of his head. Then, in the next scene, we see Ethel, who likes Gawain, but she belongs to a normal family. Then we see the king is talking with Gawain and telling him that in the future, I might announce you as a king, but Gawain was not ready for it as he knows that he doesn't have these qualities. But then the queen tells him that every king and soldier had a past, but still they did a lot for this kingdom, so all you need is a goal and hard work to achieve it. In the next scene, we see a mysterious place in Gawain's mother. She is doing a black magic there. Meanwhile, we see the king talking with his people and telling them that you are the reason behind the peaceful environment of this kingdom. Then there was celebration also. But then suddenly somebody came. His name was Green Knight. After seeing him, everyone held their guns and swords in hands, but then the king asked him to listen. The Green Knight gave him a letter which was burned by Gawain's mother in that mysterious place. Then we got to know that somebody has to cut down the head of the Green Knight, and if they fail to do so, then after 1 year, the Green Knight will cut his head. The king asked his soldiers, but no one was ready. Then Gawain came and he cut the head of the Green Knight, but then the Green Knight himself held his head from the ground and joined it to his body and went away. Everyone present there started clapping for Gawain and appreciated him for his bravery. Then, the axe of the Green Knight was kept in a safe place. Then, Gawain became an idol for everyone, but he started drinking again. Meanwhile, we see King Arthur talking with Gawain and telling him to be ready for the fight with the Green Knight. But he was very scared and unable to sleep. Then, we see Gawain's mother doing black magic again. In the next scene, we see Ethel telling Gawain that after returning from the fight, you will become the king and I will become your queen. But he didn't reply. Then he was going for the fight. Then his mother gave him that black magic cloth and told him to keep it with him always. Then we see Gawain meet a boy on his way who told him the directions, but then that boy and his friends captured Gawain and broke all his things. They also snatched that cloth from him. Then they ran away. After this, Gawain tried to get free and run away. Then he found a pond and he drank water from it, and then entered a house nearby it. He was tired and hence slept there. Then he woke up and found a girl who was a soul as she was walking like that only. Then she told him about her story and commanded him to find her head, which was somewhere inside the pond. When he came with a skeleton in his hand, that girl vanished. He searched inside the house and found a skeleton on the bed. Then he saw that the skeleton was changed into a real head and told him that Green Knight is my murderer. Then he joined that head with the skeleton. Then he found his axe there in the room. After this, he continues his journey for Green Chapel. Then he keeps walking, but his journey doesn't find any end. Then he rested for some time. He also noticed that a fox was following him from the start. The next day, he found himself at a very dark place where he found some mushrooms. He ate them and also gave them to that fox, but these mushrooms were poisonous, and hence he had vomiting. He started seeing some visions in which he saw the Green Knight also. The next day, he again started his journey with that fox. He saw some souls were following him. He tried to talk with them but failed. Then at night, he found a palace where a king used to live. When he entered, he fell down. The next morning, he woke and found the king sitting beside him. The king told him that I know about your journey and your fight with Green Knight. The king also introduced him to his queen, who was somehow looking like Ethel. Then they requested him to stay with them for some time. The queen showed him different things and books. Then we see the king and Gawain talking about the Green Knight. Gawain told him that I want to prove myself, and that is why I am searching for the Green Knight. Then we see the queen is in Gawain's room. She gave him that same cloth which was given by his mother for his protection. But he felt something was wrong, so he ran away with his axe and cloth from that palace. But then the king stopped him and gave him his fox back. Then they both continued their journey. Then they come across a river, and we see the fox is talking to Gawain and warn him to not cross that river, otherwise the Green Knight will kill him. But Gawain didn't listen to him and took the boat to cross that river. The fox left him in the middle of the journey. Then he saw a sign and stopped. He walked towards a cave. This place was Green Chapel. He saw the Green Knight was sitting in front of him. He gave his axe back to him, but he didn't respond. Then he sat down there and waited for him to respond. Then the next morning, the Green Knight woke up and saw that Gawain was sitting in front of him. He said that today is exactly 1 year of our meeting, and I will cut down your head today. Gawain also agreed. Then the Green Knight asked him to sit down on his knee. Gawain followed his instruction, but when the Green Knight was about to cut his head, he ran away. He found his horse outside that place. He took it and ran away. He was free now because he had given away the axe of Green Knight, and now he just wanted to get out of it. So he ran away as fast as he could. This time, he felt that the journey was very tireful. He went through so many difficulties, and then finally reached his home. He was so weak that he couldn't even walk. Then we see his mother was giving him treatment. Then we see that same cloth attached to his body, and hence it protected him. Then King Arthur gave him the crown of the new king, and he got married to Ethel. After this, they had a baby, but then Gawain snatched that baby from Ethel. She tried to stop him, but he didn't. Then we saw that same girl for whom Gawain go inside that river. He got married to her. Then we also see that the cloth was still attached to his body. Then we see Gawain's son, who is now in his teenage and has become a soldier. He died in a war. Then Gawain returned to his kingdom, where everyone welcomed him. Then we see the birth of Gawain's daughter from that soul girl. But we see that Gawain's kingdom has been captured by his enemies, and now he is left alone. So he detached that cloth from his body, and then suddenly his head fell down on the earth. But with this scene, we got to know that this was all his imagination, and he was still sitting in front of the Green Knight. Then he told the Green Knight about that special cloth, and told him that he would never die until this cloth is attached to his body. Then he asked the Green Knight to wait for a minute so that he could detach that cloth from his body, as he doesn't want to live anymore. The Green Knight got shocked after hearing this. He appreciated him and gave him a new name, Brave Knight, and told him that he is a brave soldier. Then we see a girl wearing that same crown on her head, which was worn by Gawain in the starting of the movie. And with this, the movie ends.